Today on the channel, we always say, gotta get a deal here on this YouTube channel. Well, sometimes you don't get a deal, sometimes you miss out on a deal, and today we're gonna break it down and we're gonna talk about one of those instances.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for something entirely different here today. Today we're talking about collecting. We're talking about gotta get a deal. One of the mottos here for the last couple of years on the channel, and words I do live by. I always do that if I'm buying groceries, if I'm shopping for car insurance, whatever it may be, I gotta get a deal at the end of the day, and it just sickens me when I do not get that deal, as sometimes we know that happens. You say, I'm gonna play the long game, I'm gonna wait, and for whatever reason, maybe you miss it. Maybe it's an auction on eBay. Say, no, I put my final offer in, that's it. Then you do miss it, or you try to lowball something, you miss it. That kind of stuff happens to the best of us, myself included. And we're going to talk about a recent thing where I said to myself, nope, I'm not picking this up. Nope, I got to get a deal, and then ended up not getting the deal I could have had. And I think we've all been there, like I do say. But now, let's talk about that item first. Let's put this all up there. Let's talk about it. Hopefully you guys have been watching my weekly purchases videos. If not, what are you waiting for? Make sure you do subscribe to this very YouTube channel. But today we're going to talk about a thing I was playing the long game on. I said, nope, I got to get a deal. I'm not paying those prices. Not paying those prices. But I finally had to. What are we talking about? We're talking about WWE Mattel Elite Collector's Edition Chief Jay Strongbow. Unfortunately, one of the rarest Mattel WWE Elite figures there is this Chief Jay Strongbow figure. Now, let me walk through this a little bit. Of course, this was earmarked to be a Walmart Collector's exclusive figure in 2022. However, at the last possible second, this was pulled from distribution, pulled from retail, as people were offended. I know, shocker, in this day and age, a lot of people are offended by things. Well, unfortunately, Chief Jay Strongbow was not a traditional Indian. He was not an Indian. He was an old Italian. That's what he was. He was an Italian guy playing an Indian. Par the course back in the day. We saw that in movies, TV, you name it. But Chief Jay Strongbow was actually not a chief, if you can believe that. His last name was not even Chief Jay Strongbow. That wasn't even his full name, but it was, and a little bit of cancel culture swooped in here, and they canceled this figure. Now, this figure was already going to be somewhat rarer than your average Mattel Elite because it was a Walmart Collector's exclusive. You weren't going to be able to buy this at Target. You weren't going to be able to get this at Ringside, all the other places, Amazon, you name it. So he was already going to be rare. Now, we always do talk about on the channel, rarity doesn't always mean value. We do definitely know that. Hey, there's only one pair of shoes I've been wearing for the last 3 months or whatever. It doesn't mean they're rare. And Chief Jay Strongbow, just because he was going to be rare, a Walmart one, it would be, to me, I think he would have ended up a lot like the Mae Youngs of the world. Of course, Mae Young was the collector's exclusive at Walmart before this, I believe. You can still find her at Walmart's right now. It's a little bit of that Harley Race effect in a lot of ways, as all the people coming out of the woodwork, oh, I'm a huge Chief Jay Strongbow fan, all this. There's no real big Chief Jay Strongbow fans. And if they're still around, they're in their 70s and 80s. That's just the way it is. Time, it stops for no one. So there is not a huge amount of Chief Jay Strongbow fans. He's got his pockets, I'm sure. But if this was released and this was out at retail, there would be no issues getting this. You'd pay, $20 to $30 eventually for it, and you would move on to the next one. However, with it being canceled, all of a sudden everybody was a huge Chief Jay Strongbow fan. Everybody needed this one. And some of the past precedent with Walmart exclusives, the flashback Harley Race, of course, is the one that jumps out. That figure was canceled. All of a sudden there was a million Harley Race fans. And Harley, a little bit more popular than Chief Jay. I think we'd all agree on that. But a lot of people wanted that Harley Race. Well, they didn't want Harley Race because they loved Harley Race. They wanted that Harley Race because it was such a rare figure. That is the reason they wanted that Harley Race. And we saw a lot of the same stuff with Chief Jay Strongbow here. Now, this Chief Jay Strongbow got canceled from Walmart. There was a little underground discussion that it was being canceled, and then it was finally officially announced to be canceled. But as usual, whenever there's new figures coming out, sometimes sometimes these things leak onto eBay and other markets and from other factories, things like that. So this was starting to make the rounds before it was canceled. It got out there. Some people bought it. There was people that bought this, I think, on eBay for $40, $50. I myself could have bought this for $45, $50 on eBay back in the day. There was definitely offers from sellers around that price. You know, let's call it the $40 to $60 range. And I remember just thinking, why would I pay that when this will be at Walmart everywhere here in a couple of months? I don't need Chief J Strongbow that bad. I will pay my $22 or whatever it is and change in a few months. And that's where I said to myself, I'm just going to wait. Well, then the word came down, it got canceled. And all of a sudden this thing started to go up. And I think it was like $150, $200, $250, $500, $10,000. People throwing out crazy amounts on this one. And I said, nope, not going to do it. I think it'll find its way. This was part of a production run. It got this far. It got into the packaging. This is not canceled. There's going to be more of these out there. Well, unfortunately, there wasn't. There was not as many as I perceived there to be. I figured a whole lot more would come, and definitely more came, but people knew this was canceled. So all of a sudden, they wanted thousands of dollars and just obscene priced in my thought process. Remember, got to get a deal in the back of my head the whole time. So I'm saying, no, I'm not paying any of that. And then there was a news group post or a Facebook group post out there from, I want to say it was Pennsylvania. There was one of those liquidation centers, and they got a couple of cases just of Chief J Strongbow. And they were selling them on Facebook Marketplace, because take that step back, they don't know about wrestling figures. They don't know about anything. This was just a pallet liquidation item. So a bunch of people in Pennsylvania got these for like $25 a pop. So I'm like, there's going to be more of that kind of stuff. They're going to sneak their way into a Big Lots or a Dirt Cheap or an Ollie's. Something like that is going to happen. Or the factories over there, they're going to have a bunch of extra of these floating around. They're going to sell these for, $80 or whatever in the future. That's what I was telling myself. Once I knew this was canceled and the price started rising, oh, they'll be out there. They'll come. There'll be loose versions off the factory. We see that with all the AEW chases, things like this. Loose ones come up for sale. Heck, the Ultimate Warrior prototype editions, those come up. A lot of people say, oh, I got the 1 of 25 Warrior, the 1 of whatever Warrior that Mattel made. Well, you really didn't get that. They're only 1 of 25 or whatever the number may be if you had them in the package. Outside the package, there's hundreds of those things running around. You know what I mean. But I figured for sure, okay, these Chiefs will be out there. And we did start seeing a few Chief J Strongbow loose for sale. But once again, didn't like the price point on them. I said, no, I got to get a deal. I'm going to wait till these come down. It's all the collector's justification in your head. The ramblings of a madman. The ramblings of a collector. And you guys know I love collecting things. I have a complete Mattel Elite set. But I've always in my head said to myself, if it was not officially released to retail, it does not count. You can have a complete Elite collection without Chief J Strongbow or Jeff Hardy Series 1 because they technically were not released. They were discontinued. That's how I do it in my collection brain. You guys can do it however you want, but when I have rules to my collection, and we all have to have rules, you have to put them there. But a part of me just kind of irks me in the back of my mind the whole time that Chief J Strongbow got one over on me. The Chief, the dirty Chief there, he tricked me. He got canceled. He did all this. I passed up cheap prices. It started going up. I passed. And now all of a sudden these have all but disappeared. You don't see them come up on eBay anymore. They don't come up from offers from people from the factories in China, things like that. Chief J Strongbow has all but disappeared. Most collectors that got him are holding on to him, and that's what happens with rarer figures. There comes a point where they just don't come up very often because they get into serious collectors' hands, and those serious collectors are holding on to them. They're not keeping them, not putting them up for sale. And that is kind of where we're currently at with Chief J Strongbow. Who knows? I filmed this video a month later. The floodgates may open. There's pallets of Chief J Strongbows coming from Thailand. Who needs one? $50 a pop. It could happen. Stranger things have happened. I don't think it will. But anyways, long story short here, I refused a cheap cost. I refused a little bit more expensive, all the way where these things were thousands and thousands of dollars. Just absolutely crazy. Now, I wouldn't be opposed to have bought a loose one of these, but they're not coming up anymore, unfortunately. And this one did come up in a Facebook group. I did pull the trigger. It was more than I would like to spend on any figure, I can tell you that. But it was just part of the gotta get a deal mentality that just drove me over the edge on this one. And I truly did not get a deal on this. I feel like I did not get a deal. I should walk that back. I did get a deal, and the reason I pulled the trigger on this is I did reach out to a few different people, some from these factories in China, some of these, let's call it black market action figure sellers. That's what we'll call it. I reached out to a few of them that I know and trusted throughout the years that, have some good tips and some good deals from time to time. And I asked about the Chief. Have they seen any lately? What are they going for? And they said they're not seeing any that are on card at all anymore. They have all disappeared. They are all gone. There's no more of those around anywhere. There is some loose ones still, but people are wanting $1,000 to $1,500 for a loose one. Are you prepared to pay that? I said, absolutely not. I am not paying $1,500 for a loose Chief J Strongbow. Well, like I said, a Facebook group post came up. I did swoop in. I did pick it up from a good brother out there. So I did end up getting this in my collection, as you can see, obviously right here. But I did have to pay up. I paid way more than I wanted to pay, but under the current circumstances, some of the intel I have, I felt like I did get a good deal, but I'm going to go back, and whenever I see this, it's going to haunt me a little bit. I'm going to say, you know what, Kyle, you could have got it for this. You could have got it for this. And sometimes you need something like this to slap you in the face as a teachable moment, as Andre Chase would say over on NXT. And that's what this is. This is going to be a lesson to myself that, Kyle, you want to get a deal all the time. You should always try to get a deal all the time, but sometimes you got to be a little bit more realistic with getting a deal. And I think a lot of us are in that place sometimes that we miss out on figures because, oh, we're going to wait. We got to get a deal, got to get a deal. Sometimes you got to get a deal, even if you don't like the price. If you truly want the item, like I really did want this, you're going to have to pay up for it, and you got to just bite the bullet and do it, or else you're going to be like future Kyle here today at the channel, buying something for a lot more than you really had offers for multiple times over the last year or so, whatever time is, as we always do say on the channel. So, got to get a deal. Most of the time it works out. Most of the time you pay attention to the big bad toy stores, entertainment stores, GameStops, Targets, Walmarts, clearance, sales events, stores out there. You pay attention to that stuff, you will get a deal if you are patient enough. But times like this, you had a chance at a deal, and the boat sailed by without you, and you're left paying later on. So don't be like me. It's tough to say, it's tough to do, but we've all probably been there, be it buying a car, buying a refrigerator, buying something. We've all been there. But why don't you guys out there in YouTube land tell me a story about you guys thinking you were trying to wait for a deal and you didn't actually end up getting one? Was it Chief J Strongbow? Was it Harley Race? Was it something entirely different? Let me know in the comments down below. But I wanted to take a few minutes, do a little video here, because I say it all the time. You can buy the t-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. Got to get a deal. Search the Kyle Peterson store. It doesn't always work out like we want it to. And with all the victories, you got to take an L from time to time. And I did take a bit of an L here. But I am happy at the end of the day to have Chief J Strongbow in my collection. A lot of you people are probably saying, are you going to open this one up? Undecided at this point. Undecided. Leaning towards not opening him. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned to the channel. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. We're dangerously close to 30,000 subscribers, and we need your help. Of course, we're doing videos every single day on the channel here, as you guys know, multiple videos a day, but even more content for everybody over on Patreon. Your best way to support the channel, your best way to support the madness is Patreon. Early access to videos like this, bonus content, exclusive content, giveaways, Q&As, you name it. A ton of stuff over there on the old Patreon. And like I said, best way to support the channel. You can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com. Got to get a deal. Pick up the t-shirt. Search Kyle Peterson. And then, of course, don't forget about social media. SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for Gotta Get a Deal Gone South, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.